You genuinely need to hear what was recovered from the Cuyahoga Valley backcountry, because the National Park Service has never once commented on what it shows. In March of 2019, deep within the sandstone ravines of Cuyahoga Valley, the Appalachian Mountains' northernmost wilderness corridor stretching into northeastern Ohio, a solo camper named Dalton Vray set out for a routine 36-hour off-trail trip near the Ritchie Ledges. No unusual weather, no warnings posted. He had done this exact trip 11 times before. Everything seemed normal until the second evening, when his GoPro footage captured something standing completely still just beyond his campsite's tree line. Something Dalton himself could not see with his naked eye, something that would spend the next 4 hours dismantling every rational explanation he had left. By the time a park maintenance crew found his truck at Stanford Trailhead on Tuesday morning, the driver's seat had been pushed entirely back. Dalton Vray was 5 feet 9 inches. Whatever adjusted that seat was not. He has never been found. The GoPro was recovered from the truck's center console, wiped clean of fingerprints, and placed there deliberately. Only the footage survived. His name is Ranger Brennan, and what you are about to hear is what he recovered on that GoPro. Ranger Cole Brennan had 14 years with Cuyahoga Valley National Park. At 11:40 p.m. on a Tuesday, he sat under a buzzing fluorescent tube, not supposed to be there, staring at a small GoPro, a cracked evidence bag, and a monitor frozen on a still frame of dark Ohio woods. He had watched the footage 6 times. He pressed play on the 7th. The GoPro opens mid-setup. Dalton Vray's hands, calloused, with a faded compass rose tattoo on the inside of his left wrist, are tightening a guy line between 2 red oaks. 34 years old. HVAC sales out of an Akron office 5 days a week. These 36 hours are the only ones in any given month that fully belong to him, and he moves through setup with the ease of a man who has been doing this since his older brother first walked him into these woods at 12. The site sits in a shallow depression off the Ledges Trail. Far enough from the path that no casual hiker finds it, tucked against a 10-foot sandstone outcropping that kills the northwest wind. Dalton found it 6 years ago and never mentioned it to anyone. He narrates his setup into the lens. Bear bag knotted 12 feet up, fire ring cleared, water from Brandywine Creek filtered. Sunday evening. Then a Monday 7 a.m. client call he cannot miss. As the sun drops behind the sandstone walls, the forest noise doesn't fade. It stops. Not gradually, stops. No spring peepers, no red-winged blackbirds, no faint I-271 rumble. Dalton has always been able to hear from this hollow on still nights. Dead air. The kind that doesn't feel like quiet. The kind that feels like waiting. Dalton pans the camera, slightly annoyed at himself for feeling unsettled. Sound does weird things in ravines, he says. The pan takes 11 seconds. At second 9, at the edge of the frame where the light gives out, there is a shape. Vertical, perfectly still. Not an animal, not a tree. A tall, upright blur, the way heat shimmer looks off summer asphalt, except it is March and 41 degrees. Dalton's eyes move right past it. His camera does not. Brennan has paused on that frame so many times the image has burned a ghost into the right side of his monitor. The shape doesn't move. Dalton keeps narrating. 2 hours later, by firelight, Dalton is replaying clips on the GoPro's small screen, and mid-pan, half a second before the footage catches the shape in the tree line, the lens swings across the specific oak tree holding the bear bag rope, and there it is. A deep X carved into the bark, not scratched, carved. The cuts are clean-edged and deliberate, the interior wood still pale and wet-looking, the way fresh cuts look before they age. Dalton squints at the playback, tilts the camera toward the fire for better light, says huh, and files it as an old trail marker from before the Park Service put up the formal blaze system. He shuts the camera off and pours his coffee. The part of his brain that was unsettled by the silence has mostly quieted down. The fire is going well. The coffee is exactly right. He has a paperback in his jacket pocket, and the sandstone at his back, and the kind of tiredness that only comes from being outside all day. He is fine. Then the wood smoke smell disappears. Not dissipates. Disappears. One breath it is there, thick and clean, the specific smell Dalton's brain has wired to every good weekend since he was 14. And the next breath it is gone, replaced instantly by something that hits the back of his sinuses like a slap. Wet copper and ozone, the way air smells after a nearby lightning strike. The sky is completely clear. Dalton stands up before he's made any decision to stand up. His body reacts before his brain catches up. He grabs the flashlight, 800 lumens, and sweeps the perimeter. Trees, deadfall, the sandstone face, his tent. He narrates as he goes, calmer than he sounds. He has been camping alone for 20 years. Everything has an explanation. He is still building it. The flashlight beam hits the oak tree. The bear bag rope is still tied to the branch above. It descends 12 feet to where the bag should be hanging. But the bag is on the ground, sitting upright, not dropped, not fallen, placed. The intricate double half-hitch knot that took Dalton 4 minutes to tie is fully undone, both loops released cleanly, the rope end coiled beside the bag with a precision that doesn't belong to gravity or wind or pause. The bag is completely sealed. Nothing inside has been touched. Dalton stands there with the flashlight on the bag for 3 full seconds. His breathing changes. The GoPro audio picks it up, each inhale getting slightly shorter. The math is not adding up. And then, from the dark air exactly 10 feet behind his back, comes a sound that has no business being in these woods. A crisp, mechanical zip of nylon, sliding open with slow deliberateness. One clean pull. Dalton spins. The flashlight sweeps. There is no tent behind him. There is no tent within a quarter mile in any direction. The sound came from empty air between 2 birch trees, and the birch trees are just birch trees, and the space between them is just space, and there is nothing there. He stands in the dark with the light shaking slightly in his hand. He is a man who fixes things by finding variables. He turns back toward the fire. He picks up the rope, reties the bear bag, hoists it, tests the line. Hands steady, breathing coming back down. Marcus's voice surfaces without permission. His older brother, who had a rule he said so many times it became background noise. You hear something once? You stay quiet. You hear it twice. You pack up. You don't wait for 3. Dalton sets the rope down. He pours the rest of his coffee into the fire, and then he sits back down in the camp chair and opens his paperback. He does not pack up. What Brennan knows that Dalton does not, the camera, still running on the chair arm, caught the birch trees after Dalton turned away. The shape is back, closer, still not moving, just learning the distance. The fire has burned down to coals while Dalton was dealing with the bag. The light is low and orange, and it reaches maybe 8 feet before the dark takes over. Sitting at that exact edge, where the firelight stops, is a figure. Not emerging from the trees. Just there, the way a piece of furniture is just there, as if it arrived while Dalton was deciding what to believe. Tall. Positioned in a way that suggests seated without being seated. A wrongness in the angles. Like something that had studied the posture from a distance and approximated it. draped entirely in the kind of darkness that doesn't shift with the firelight the way shadows should. Dalton's flashlight hits it and scatters. The beam spreads at the edge of the figure like it's hitting smoke, but there is no smoke. The GoPro on the chair arm is aimed directly at it, catching everything. Then it breathes. Dalton's chest rises. The figure's chest expands simultaneously. The same depth, the same rhythm, the same duration. Dalton holds the inhale for a half second. The figure holds it. He exhales. It exhales. He lowers the camera 2 inches. What should be the figure's arm lowers. 3 seconds late. Not 2, not 4. Exactly 3. Consistent, like something that found the interval and locked it in. The cold rolling off it isn't wind. It's displacement. Air pushed aside by mass. Dalton feels it across his knuckles first, then his jaw, then the back of his neck where the collar gaps. His hands are shaking, and it is not from temperature. Marcus's rule fires again. You hear it twice, you pack up. He heard it twice an hour ago. He stayed. The 1,000 lumen flashlight is on his belt. He can feel the weight of it against his hip, 2 inches from his right hand. 1 click, and it would turn that figure daylight bright, answer every question, collapse every shadow, make the thing either real or nothing. His hand moves toward it, passes the clip, moves back, passes it again. He kicks the fire instead. His boot heel goes into the coals, scatters them, stamps the glow dead, and the campsite goes black. Completely black, the kind that has weight, the kind that presses against your open eyes and feels the same as closed. Dalton doesn't move. His breathing has gone shallow and fast, each exhale audible in the GoPro audio like a metronome running slightly too quick. 4 seconds of nothing. 8. 12. Dalton does not move. Then the cold hits his face from directly ahead, a freezing rush of displaced air, closer than the figure was, much closer. The distance between 2 people having a conversation. And before he can process it, a sound comes from inside his tent. His tent. 6 feet to his left. Sealed and zipped exactly as he left it. Not from outside it, not from the direction of it, from inside it. A heavy, wet exhale. Slow. Patient. The sound of something that has been in there long enough to settle in and get comfortable. Dalton's body makes the decision before his mind finishes the sentence. He runs. Boot heel catches a root. He doesn't fall. Staggers, keeps moving. The GoPro is still mounted on his chest strap now, footage lurching through black trees and sky and ground. His breathing clips the audio sensor. Branches tear across his jacket with a sound like paper ripping. He is not thinking about the tent, not the figure or the knot or the X carved into the oak bark. He is thinking about his truck. He is thinking about Stanford Trailhead and the 40-minute walk he is now making in pitch black, through terrain he can barely see, and he is not slowing down. Behind him, the campsite goes quiet again. The GoPro on the chair arm, still running, left behind in the dark, records 11 seconds of empty coals before something walks through the frame from left to right, unhurried, moving in the direction Dalton ran. It is not using a flashlight. It does not appear to need one, and it is moving at exactly the pace Dalton is running. The ravine fog comes from below. That is the thing about Cuyahoga Valley in early March. The fog doesn't roll in from weather. It rises out of the creek drainages, out of the ground itself, filling the low places first. Dalton knows this. 11 trips. He knows exactly what the fog does in this valley. It has never moved this fast. Within 30 seconds, it is at his knees, dense enough to scatter the GoPro light into gray murk that reaches maybe 4 feet. He navigates by memory and slope, and the sound of Brandywine Creek to his right, the way his brother taught him when he was 12. Keep the water on your right. The trailhead is uphill and north, 40 minutes in daylight. He hears the second set of footsteps at the 12-minute mark. At first he tells himself it is echo, sound bouncing off sandstone, off the fog itself, his own footfalls returning to him distorted. He tells himself this for about 4 seconds. Then he counts the beats. They are not his. His own are fast and ragged, uneven, left foot slightly heavier from the shin he caught on the root system leaving camp. The second set is different, slower, heavier, evenly spaced, patient, like something that already knows the destination. It stays just inside the tree line to his left, pacing him, not closing the distance, not falling behind. Every time Dalton slows, breath burning, shin screaming, the second set slows. Every time he surges, it surges. 3 seconds delayed. Always 3. He does not look left, he runs. The creek stays on his right, louder now, the spring melt pushing Brandywine up toward its banks, and he uses the sound the way a drowning man uses a rope, one anchor point in a world that has gone completely gray and wrong. Then the creek sound disappears. He runs 20 more yards before his brain catches up. Not fades, disappears. The same way the forest noise disappeared back at camp. Dalton slows, turns toward where the creek should be. The fog is total. He has lost his bearing. He stands still and makes himself breathe. The footsteps to his left stop simultaneously. He takes 1 step forward, testing. The footsteps take 1 step. 3 seconds late. He stops. They stop. He understands then, in the way that bypasses language and goes straight to the body, that this has not been a chase. It has been an escort. Whatever is in the tree line is not trying to catch him. It is walking him somewhere. His shin is bleeding through his pants, warm wet above the boot. The GoPro footage from here is nearly useless, just gray murk and ragged breathing and dark Ohio woods that all look identical. Then gravel crunches under his boot. The parking area. He doesn't trust it, stands at the edge, chest heaving, waiting for it to be wrong. It isn't. The primer-scraped Tundra is exactly where he left it, the only vehicle in the lot, and his bloody hand hits the door handle with a sound that rings off the empty lot like a shot. He rips the door, throws himself in, slams it, locks it. His whole body is shaking, the GoPro catching the interior now for the first time. Dash, steering wheel, his own breath fogging the windshield in short, hard bursts. He stares at the tree line. The fog sits at the tree line's edge like it has a border it will not cross. 30 seconds, 60, nothing emerges. His breathing starts to slow. 1 hand on the wheel. He reaches up to angle the rearview mirror, automatic habit, the thing you do when you get in a car, tilting it to see the road behind the truck. The reflection catches his face, sweat-streaked, pale, eyes too wide. And then he notices it. His mouth is moving. Short, fast breaths, lips parting slightly with each exhale. He can feel each one. The face in the mirror is not moving with him. It is still, composed, looking directly at him from the glass with an expression that does not belong to a man who just ran 40 minutes through dark Ohio woods. It is smiling. Dalton's hand comes off the mirror. He does not scream. He makes a sound that is smaller than a scream, and worse, a single compressed exhale, like a man who has just understood something he cannot ununderstand. And his hand finds the ignition, and the engine turns over, and the headlights blow a white column through the fog, and he drives. The lot behind him goes dark. The fog closes back over the tree line. The footsteps don't follow. They don't need to. The thing that was walking him through those woods already got where it was going. The GoPro footage cuts to static at 9:47 p.m. Saturday. 16 seconds of white noise, then nothing. Ranger Cole Brennan has not moved in 11 minutes. The monitor has gone dark on its screensaver. The fluorescent tube buzzes at the same frequency it always does. The evidence bag with its yellow sticky note sits exactly where it was. He has been in the same position long enough that his right hand has gone slightly numb on the desk. He lets it stay numb. The maintenance crew found the Tundra at Stanford Trailhead at 6:40 a.m. Tuesday. Unlocked, engine cold, keys in the ignition. They noted two things before Brennan arrived. The truck was unlocked, and the driver's seat had been pushed all the way back. Fully extended, adjusted for someone considerably taller than Dalton Vray's 5'9" frame. The seat adjustment was logged as a vehicle anomaly and quietly dropped from the follow-up report before the end of the week. Brennan found the third thing himself. Carved into the leather of the steering wheel, deep, clean-edged, the interior material still slightly pale the way fresh cuts look before they age, was an X, the exact same depth, the exact same angle as the one on the oak tree in the footage. He did not photograph it. He stood at that steering wheel for a long time, in the cold of the empty parking lot, with no one else around. 3 days later, a search team reached the campsite. The bear bag was hanging 12 feet up in the oak tree again, knotted in a double half hitch. No one on the search team had been to that site yet. The knot was wrong, not Dalton's configuration. Tighter, more economical. The kind of knot you tie when you already know exactly how much rope you need. Dalton Vray has not been found. His HVAC company placed him on leave after his Monday 7 a.m. call went unanswered. His brother Marcus drove up from Columbus the following Wednesday, stood at Stanford Trailhead for a long time, then got back in his car and drove home without saying anything to anyone on the search team. The Ritchie Ledges trail stays open. Families hike it every weekend in spring. The sandstone is beautiful. The views are real. Nothing about that trail in daylight feels like a place where something is wrong. But the rangers who have worked this valley for more than a decade don't camp off trail near the ledges anymore. They don't explain why. Ask them directly, and they will change the subject or find something urgent on their desk. What Brennan left out of every official report is this. In those 16 seconds of static at the end of the footage, there is one frame that is not static. He had to slow the playback to 0.25 speed to find it. A single frame buried in the white noise. Something that is not noise at all. It is a face, looking directly into the lens. It does not belong to Dalton Vray. Brennan finally reaches over and wakes the monitor. The frozen frame comes back. Second 9 of the pan. The shape at the edge of the light that Dalton's eyes moved right past. He looks at it for a long time. Then he closes the file, picks up the evidence bag and locks it in the bottom drawer of his desk. The fluorescent tube keeps buzzing. The parking lot outside is empty. In these mountains, the things that go quiet aren't resting. They're listening, figuring out how much of you they still need to learn.